In 1904, over a friendly dinner in New York, E.H. Harriman, CEO of the Union Pacific Railroad, and William Riley McKeen, Jr., head of motive power for the Union Pacific, composed the idea of the self-propelled passenger car by using a gasoline-powered engine first used in speedboats, with the luxury of Pullman Palace cars, and the safety and strength of rail cars not yet seen in mass production. The idea resulted in the McKeen Motor Car Company and Union Pacific Motor Car No. 1, the archetype for generations of cars that would follow. The evolution of the next 5 motor cars would present the necessary fixes needed to the engines, drive systems, and car bodies. This would lead the way to the 7th McKeen motor car, which was the first to sport one of the most prominent features of the cars built after 1907, the large porthole windows, which allowed a better field of view by hinging the 24-inch circular glass into the car. This car also featured a truss-like structure within the body, thus creating a very rigid and versatile framework, the likes that had not been seen previously. In 1907, an advertisement for the new McKeen cars caught the eye of E.A. Hornbeck, general manager for 2 short-line railroads in San Diego. He advised both the Los Angeles and San Diego Beach Railway to buy 2 McKeen cars, and the San Diego, Cuyamaca, and Eastern Railway to buy 1 McKeen car. Each car cost roughly $20,000, the equivalent to $500,000 today. The car for the SDC&E was built with the markings Cuyamaca Motor Car in gold and was painted in rich burgundy. The interior was finished with a dark mahogany veneer, green imitation leather bench seats, and had a ceiling with hand-painted accents. The car could hold 75 passengers in both the men's and family sections, the men's section being for smokers. The car also had a restroom and drinking fountain for passengers, and the car was lit at night with brass acetylene lamps manufactured by Adams & Westlake Company. The car traveled from Omaha to San Diego under its own power and arrived having broken the record for fastest travel between Salt Lake City and San Diego. The car arrived in San Diego on March 19, 1908 at 12:40 p.m. The car's fresh paint glistened in the sunlight and polished brass shined for the occasion. She would start her regular service on the line running between San Diego at the C Street station and Foster, a now defunct town where Lake San Vicente and Dam is today. The car would run a few times a day and was often pulled out of service as the drive mechanism would break in one way or another. By 1913, the car was seldom used, and in 1914, the Yuma Valley Railroad, part of the U.S. Reclamation District, bought the car for $6,000. It arrived in Yuma, Arizona on November 14, 1914. The car was renumbered YV-1 and used as transport for men up into the valley. The car was also used for limited revenue service for the public. In 1916, the valley and railroad suffered damage from another flood of the Gia River, which kept the McKeen car out of service until the tracks could be repaired. While it was out of service, baggage doors were added. By 1925, the Yuma Valley Railroad had little use for the car, and while the Department of the Interior was forming the Alaska Railroad, they needed equipment. They sent letters around to other government railways and soon bought the McKeen car for an unknown amount. In April of 1926, the car was sent from Yuma to Alaska by way of the Southern Pacific Railroad. The car would run another year before having its first major overhaul. In 1927, the Alaska Railroad removed the original engine and trucks from the car and replaced them with 2 104 horsepower engines, 1 per truck. At this time, the pointed knife-edge nose was also cut off and replaced with a new rounded end to allow doorways at each end of the car. The car was now marked for the Alaska Railroad number 108, along with Department of the Interior near the cab. In 1935, the replacement engines were removed from the trucks, and the car markings were changed to Alaska Railroad number 83 to signify that it was now an unpowered baggage passenger car or combination car. In World War II, the car was used on the 714th Railway Battalion for troop transport. In the late 1940s, the car was likely pulled off the rails and used for storage for quite a few years. It changed hands many times, eventually leading its way to the group Anchorage Historical Properties Incorporated. This is where I fit into the story. I had been in contact with the group in Alaska to get more information on the car, and in one email I said that if they ever wanted or needed to get rid of the car, I would be interested. In September of 2014, I got an email from the president of the AAHP that said that if I could pay for the movement of the car from Anchorage, Alaska to San Diego, that I could have it. As a side note, I was only 15 years old at the time. It took some time and lots of fundraising, but eventually, after a year and a few months, I had all of the shipping arrangements planned out, and on March 10th, the car was lifted off of its spot in Anchorage and lowered onto a trailer. On March 20th, the car made it by truck to Ramona, California, and that night we lifted her off of the trailer, finishing one chapter and starting the next, a complete historic restoration to fully operable condition. While the Cuyamaca is very important to San Diego's history, being the last surviving car from the San Diego, Cuyamaca, and Eastern Railway, the car has additional importance as it is the oldest of the three McKeen cars still in existence, and in fact may be the oldest all-steel passenger car and oldest aerodynamic land vehicle in the world. This is where you come into the equation. We need your help to restore the McKeen car Cuyamaca to her former glory. With your donations of time, money, or even both, we can accomplish a complete restoration of the Cuyamaca McKeen car to her 1908 splendor and iconic status of American ingenuity. We encourage you to visit our various online resources, including our main website, www.mckeencar.com, our Facebook page, the McKeen Motor Car Company Historical Society, the MMCCHS, and our GoFundMe page at www.gofundme.com/McKeen Car Cuyamaca. My name is Madison Kirkman. I'd like to thank you for listening and helping preserve this piece of American ingenuity.